So then around the age of 8, I remember like coming out of my room and they having her, my mom and stepdad were having like the biggest argument ever, and like she basically kicked him out, but I'm thinking it's because of cheating, but I'm not thinking, but I know it was because of cheating. So it's like, here I am as a child, but a wise child, and seeing my mom cry and like go through all these different struggles and stuff like that. So like right then and there, I always told myself, like, if I was to ever get married, which I am married now, if I was to get married, I would need to make sure that, I mean, you can't really predict what's going to happen, but as far as like being stability and all of those things, it's funny how we as children we shape what we want the world to be when we are adults, and sometimes we have no control over that. So at that point, like, my mom did end up like relapsing and like doing drugs and stuff like that, and I mean, it was hard, but I just always stay focused on my schoolwork and stuff like that. And then by the time I got to middle school, I mean, I didn't feel like I was overweight, but I'm gonna say like around 11 or 12 years old, I'm 5'1", so I was 5'1", and I probably weighed about 98 pounds. And I guess for that age, I guess that's considered overweight, but it was so many people who would call me like fat or ugly, or they would say like, oh, how come you don't look like your mom because she was a lighter version, or how come you don't look like your dad because he was a darker version, or things like that. And it mostly came from my actual, like, I don't really want to say like kids. It actually came from people from within my family, which is, I guess, the more hurting part. So it's funny how parents know, because then I was like, well, I'm fat and this and that. So I started to like starve myself, I guess you can consider anorexia, and I became really like suicidal because I just wanted everything to end, because here I am as a child and people are saying these things to me, and I'm like, how can people say this to a child? Like, I'm only 11 or 12, because I don't remember the exact age group, and my mom was noticing like the signs and stuff like that. So she like sat me down, and this was like the biggest life lesson that I had to carry with me all the way up to now. And it was basically and I wrote this like on my blog too, and it was a conversation where it's like, she asked me what was wrong, and I told her like, basically, people are making fun of me because of my weight, my skin color, my hair. Like, they like basically pick me apart. And she told me like, when you're in the comfort of your own home, then you can be as free and comfortable as you are. But as soon as you walk out that front door, you have to remember that everyone is not going to like who you are. There's always going to be that one person who wants to tear you down and make sure that you do not succeed in life. She was like, you can walk into a room full of 10 people, and out of those 10 people, there will be that one person in that room that hates everything about you, from your head all the way down to your toe. So that stuck with me. So I went through life with that. So then, of course, that was a little bit more of encouragement. So around the age of 13, we ended up moving to Vicksburg, Mississippi. And we moved because like my mom's dad was out there, and she thought it would be like better and stuff like that financially, because like I said, she was struggling. Like, she would do good, and then she would like relapse back on drugs. So she moved us out there with her, who was her like current boyfriend, and he came into the picture when I was like 9. But anyways, we moved to Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I believe her dad had Alzheimer's, because I remember when we still lived in California, she had conversations on the phone with him, and she would have him on speaker and stuff like that. And I swear they planned this out for like a good 3 months, and it was basically like her telling him that she was coming out there and stuff like that. So we arrived, I'm cold, situate myself, but we arrived in Vicksburg, Mississippi. We took the Greyhound. I will never take the Greyhound ever, side note, in my life, because no. But anyways, we arrived at the Greyhound station, and we were there for like a good hour. So then my mom finally decided to call her dad, and she called him, and he came to the Greyhound, but he was like, "What are you doing here, Jackie?" And she was like, "We talked about," I said I was moving out here. And he was like, "I don't remember those conversations." So when we got there, so we drove back to his house, and he was talking like, "I think my wife is poisoning me," type of things. And I'm just a child, so I'm 13, so I mean, I don't really know. I was listening. But so she was talking about that and stuff like that. So we end up moving into because he was like, "Oh, well, you guys can stay here for a few nights or whatever, but then you have to find something else." Like, basically he was like kicking us out into the cold. Like, they planned for us to move out there, and then he knew nothing about it. So it's like, here we are in a whole new state. So it's like, okay. So then one of the cousins out there let us stay in his trailer. But the only thing with the trailer was there was no water. And it's so funny because, like, when I tell people that I know what it's like not to have water, it's like people are always so shocked of my age and everything that I've been through. But it's like, I always look at life as a stepping stone. Like, this is just one thing that is passing through in my life, and I'm just gonna meet the next obstacle and moving forward. So anyways, we lived in this trailer for 3 months with no water. So the way in Vicksburg, Mississippi was basically like, our family pretty much like owned like the whole block, and no one was willing, oh look, that's some good lighting right there, no one was willing to help us out or whatever. So we